the guy said, look, this has come out. I'd read about it in the news, and he said, we gotta give people the right information about this before people start taking the deen from Netflix, man. Well, I think it's you can't expose yourself to something that's gonna cause you doubt like that, especially even worse when it's something like a movie or a TV series where it's presented to manipulate your emotions and make you get into the story. It's even worse than reading it written down, right? Like reading it as an article. And even preparing for the seminar, I have no intention of watching this thing to prepare for the seminar. What I'm going to do is just go through the script of it or go through the plot summary of it or whatever, and then write down the things that I need to write. But I have no intention of watching it, because if I'm going to watch it, what's to say? Who can say to me that I'm not going to be affected by something, however small? So I have no intention of watching it. I'm just going to go through the.
So you advise people don't even watch it, don't even go near it.
I would say don't go near it, because why are you going to put yourself at risk like that? And yeah, you could say, well, I went through it and I've watched things before and I've not been affected, but that's really bad reasoning. Just because you've not been affected before, it doesn't mean that you won't be affected again. You got to take your precautions in that way.
There's a lot of people talking about it, though, isn't there? That series. There's a lot of people talking about it. A lot of Muslims talking about it. A lot of people, because obviously it's very relevant to what's going on. But I know there's a lot of talk about people who want to watch it, etc. I think it is.
Wait, what is it?
What's it about?
I know that. I
haven't seen it.
No, but in a sense that. So are they creating it because?
It looks like they're almost conditioning to the people that the Dajjal is coming.
Fine.
And it's come out at a time. I haven't watched it. I think it's about end times, really, isn't it? And the man coming, the Dajjal coming.
But it's meant to be it's a drama for entertainment purposes.
Of course. Yeah. But then you never know how powerful behind it. They might make the Dajjal actually quite attractive, very subtly, and before you know, he's the good guy.
I think one of the things you have here is that you have a figure.
Everyone's like, "Cool, this." Sorry.
What I understood from what I've read, I've only read the paragraph that kind of describes it. Right?
Yeah.
Is that you have this doubt about, is this figure? Is he fake? Is he real? Is he the one, or is he just like? So it's like designed to create that doubt, and I'm gonna go through it in detail before the seminar, so I really understand it. But if it is like that, that's a really powerful, confusing thing that you give to people. It's that you start to make people doubt. Well, is the Dajjal gonna be like that, or is this just like all something illusionary? Like, it's, how they do that, like they twist it, like, oh, there's a plot twist that like suddenly it's all just an illusion, and actually the whole thing wasn't like it was set up to be. So that's that kind of thing can be pretty powerful in confusing people. I don't know whether someone's going to watch that and then necessarily get a completely wrong idea of the Dajjal. I just think that there's certain underlying messages within that are gonna lead to a lot of confusion for people.
With films and series and stuff, ultimately the writers decide what the audience, who they favour within what they've written. So even the bad guys can, if they present it in the right way, the bad guy suddenly becomes the good guy, and then you find yourself attached to the bad. It's powerful. So what I'm saying is, someone sent me the advert for it.
Yeah,
I watched the advert, and it actually gave me goosebumps. It was creepy, because it was someone wrote a little message alongside it saying, we're getting to that point, and look what they're pushing out. And it's just like it's a very subtle way of conditioning people, Muslims, non-Muslims, anyone, that there is someone coming. As we know, there is someone coming. And if they choose to present it in a way that this person's exciting or whatever, it might be the thing that when the Dajjal does come, everyone's going to be embracing it more. I think it's the start of many things that we're going to see about this subject. I think it's the start of the conditioning, because I think we're getting to that. We're getting to that point. We know that we're in those times anyway. I think this coming out on Netflix, everyone talking about it, I think is the start of many more series, films about the same subject. And I think generally it's about conditioning and getting people used to this thought.
Someone was saying that they've obviously, in researching to create this drama, they've obviously analysed a lot of religious text, because a lot of the things that we know in ahadith, they've like implemented in it. So like there's some, so they've obviously
Christian,
had to, like,
right?
look at the Bible, look at the Quran.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And it's not the first time that's actually happened. It's maybe the first time it's been on such a high profile.
Yeah.
It's been done before, and there are a lot of people who speak about this topic deliberately to create confusion. There's a lot of people out there on YouTube who are speaking about this topic. One thing that I'm really concerned about is people who speak about this topic and take the Dajjal away from being what he really is, away from being, for example, a person, into being a system, or into being like, that's so dangerous, because when the Dajjal actually comes, people won't be aware, because they've got the impression that the Dajjal is just, the financial system,
The system,
or
yeah.
the system, or the system of government. Or
Well, we know it's actually a
Ya'juj
physical
and
man.
Ma'juj is, just refers to that China, the rise of China or whatever.
Yeah.
This is really, really dangerous because it just creates confusion about what the real issues are. And I think that's what I see with this Netflix thing. It's not so much that they're trying to, it's not that they try and totally change everything. They just confuse you enough that you actually stop recognizing where the truth is and you start to doubt, and especially this emotive thing of using Palestine and all that stuff. It's very, very cleverly done to just confuse people and confuse people's emotions into not really understanding where the truth is.
Do you think that's their intention though, or do you think that they are like ignorant people who are just making a movie and they found a good story?
That's a really interesting one. I think that's that.
I know it's. I think.
I'll tell you me personally. I think that it doesn't matter. I think Shaitaan.
that's a good point.
There are Shayateen al-Ins wal Jinn. There are Shaitaan from the men and Shaitaan from the Jinn. يوحي بعضهم إلى بعض زخرف القول غرورا. They reveal to each other adorned speech as a way to delude people. So, in all honesty, it doesn't have to be this thing that, they went into the forest in the middle of night and then, Iblis was waiting for them to explain to them the script that they needed to write. It's much more subtle than that.
Yeah.
They just are the fact that they're away from Allah. They don't have they're not following the religion. They're following the Shaitan, and Shaitan just inspires them to do things that are helpful to his cause. That's what I believe.
As we're talking about film and series, when I first came to the Deen and started practicing, there was a very well-known film called Jinn. I don't know if you ever. There was actually a film called Jinn, Hollywood film.
Okay.
And it actually it's gone. It's been completely removed. But it was advertised as a film that was going to come to the cinema, etc. And it was about, the advert was creepy. It was literally called Jinn, Jinn, and it was about a goblin in a dark cave. And it was actually called Jinn. And then it completely disappeared. And I think it literally got removed from. I'm sure if you Google it, you might be able to find it. But it's just interesting, like how it did disappear. And not to get too conspiracy based, but I think that it's called Jinn. I think it makes people conscious of it. Maybe it may be giving away a little bit too much. And without going too, I just think the fact that it was out there, Hollywood film, and then suddenly it's been removed. I think for that to happen, I think there was a conversation somewhere saying, look, this is. I don't know. I just think the fact that it was removed and disappeared, I think there's more to it.
In saying that, I reckon that now that, with Islam being like the fastest growing religion, and with like it becoming more and more prominent, I think that we will start seeing in media the concepts of Islam, especially like to do with Shaitan and stuff, like being used, and like them taking extracts or ahadith and stuff like that, and then making a movie based off of that as like a horror movie and stuff like that. Like, but I'm sure that stuff already exists, but like, I'm saying a much more obvious version.
way. Yeah. Because it does
You
exist.
haven't really seen a movie that's called other than that one, the Jinn one, but but I can imagine them actually creating that.
But the sad thing is how that you fear that's going to attract Muslims, isn't it?
It would attract
That's
Muslims.
the point. We would
It would
definitely,
attract Muslims.
because they'll be like, oh, that's like
This is our thing.
like,
Let's watch it.
sick.
Yeah. But then what's within that?
Yeah.
There's Monsters Inc. The film Monsters Inc., which is a very popular kids film. Those monsters are based in another dimension out of the normal dimension, and one of those monsters has got one eye. In fact, a few of them have got one eyes. So talking about like if you want to like go into it, they're talking about Monsters Inc. They're in another dimension. They've got one eyes. I don't know. There's you can go through a few films and pick that kind of stuff out. But I do think they've done it subtly. I think it's just getting more obvious.
Yeah, I'm always interested into whether they did it on purpose or if it's like another thing. But I know your opinion is, which a very valid opinion, which is probably more correct anyway, is that they know what they're doing.
I don't know. I
asked this question. I actually last time we were in the podcast, I asked you that question, and I don't know. I think I used to think it was more like the producers, directors get together in a circle, and they it's that. I used to think that. I don't think it's as clear cut as that. I think, like you're saying, it's almost like the shaitan of men are just there, and
they reveal, they inspire each other, because Allah said, "Yuhi ba'duhum ila ba'd." They inspire each other to do wrong. So the shayateen al-jinn, they kind of like put thoughts into the mind of Shayateen al-Ins to make them sort of help the cause. That's how it works. That's how Allah told us that it works. So I think there isn't a need for them to kind of, have these kind of like secret societies. Not to say that they don't exist, they might exist, but that's not critical for it to work.
Yeah.
Shaitan has a much more subtle way of doing things, which is simply just to inspire to people who are already close to the Shaitan to do things that will further the Shaitan's cause.